welcome to this National Schools Network information session. We are, again, just so excited that you're here and that you are joining us on this call. I'm Ashley Pinchiaro. I'm the National Director of Operations for Narrative 4. I've been on the Narrative 4 team now for over 4 years. Jen, believe it or not, we've been on the team now for over 4 years. I started as our Northeast regional manager, managing all of our work in New York City and Boston and Portland, Maine, and I've been working as our national director for the last 2+ years. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. My background is in English and journalism, and so to be able to take my love for storytelling and use it to support SEL and art programming in all of our schools has been really exciting and fun over these years. So that is a little bit about me. I'm joined here today by my colleagues Jen and Lee, who you are meeting. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lee Keylock. I'm the Senior Director of Global Programs for Narrative 4. I'm looking at the chat box and I'm seeing a lot of friendly faces, people I've met over the years. I've been with Narrative 4 for 10 plus years. So Ashley was joking in a meeting earlier that if you want a little history, just go and see Lee. So I can be your historian. But I'm a school teacher for years. I've taught in public schools in Connecticut. I've taught at the college level. And I'm very happy to be here. And obviously, I believe in the power of stories to sort of unite and connect people. And I will pass the microphone to Jen.
Thanks, Lee. Yes. Hello again, everyone. My name is Jen McCool. I'm one of the Northeast Regional Managers here at Narrative 4. I have, like Lee said, I've connected with a lot of you. I'm seeing a lot of friendly names, so that's exciting. I am in the Hartford, Connecticut area, but I work with all of our schools and community partners in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, DC, and Ohio. So I'm very excited to see some folks from my region here. I, as Ashley said, have been here for a little over 4 years now. I come from a theater background, so I worked for many years doing teaching artist work, theater education, community engagement in the regional theater landscape, and then most recently before coming to Narrative 4 was the director of programs for an inclusive theater disability education program. That was a school-based program where we brought kids with and without disabilities together, and they created original devised theater. So for me, the arts have always been about empathy and storytelling, and so Narrative 4 is really just a perfect alignment with what I have always believed in believed as so critical to our lives, is the idea of empathy and connection, and that's why we're all here today. So I believe, Lee, are you kicking us off with the first actual info? Let's get to the good stuff.
Well, I can tell you this, if you take a look at the slide, you know, the short version of Narrative 4 is that we're a global nonprofit and that we use storytelling in the arts to build empathy, connection, and compassion in young people. That's the sort of, 50,000-foot level. But we're an organization that is 10 years old. We're actually in our 11th year right now. So our reach is it illustrates the power of our work because we are in about 39 US states right now and 35 countries. Our story exchange methodology shows up, all over the globe, and there's nothing better than an international story exchange. And and that's actually Colin McCann calling me right now, and I'm going to decline. Colin McCann, who is our co-founder, and he's the very guy, he's the artist, the author that sort of dreamed up this global organization alongside Lisa Consiglio. But the short version is that we believe stories are the greatest currency on the planet, and that if you can foster empathy through storytelling between groups, that positive action sort of arises as a result of that. And I'm going to get rid of Colin McCann for a second, and I'm going to pass the mic back to Ashley.
Thanks, Lee, and hello to Colin. So at Narrative 4, as we really prepare to enter 2025, we feel strongly that the time is now for a new community of schools and educators from across the nation to be developed. I'm sure all of you in education have heard and borne witness to the extreme isolation and loneliness that our Surgeon General here in the US has declared an epidemic in our country. We've experienced this loneliness ourselves here at Narrative 4, and we've seen directly how it has affected our schools and how it's affected our students. And at Narrative 4, we are committed to serving students and teachers nationwide through our values of connection, curiosity, courage, and compassion. We believe this Narrative 4 National Schools Network is really being launched to do just that. This, for us, is about building a really deep, rich community within schools, but also between schools. So Jen's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are launching this new initiative, which we are all very, very excited about, obviously. So the Narrative 4 National Schools Network is exactly that. We are bringing together schools and educators from all over the country. So you can see that in our chat. We have, folks here literally from every corner of the states here to form a cohort, a network of educators who really believe in our work, who believe in storytelling, who believe in the arts, who believe in connection and empathy. And we are, we're going to essentially bring you together as a community of practice, and you will get trained. You'll experience our story exchange, our core methodology that all of our work is based around. You will get trained as Narrative 4 facilitators. You will get some additional skill building, facilitation skill building. You'll get the support of our Narrative 4 staff to help you figure out where Narrative 4 can fit and work the best in your school. And you'll get to really dig deeper into all of that while also connecting with your peers, fellow educators from all around the country, to be thought partners and collaborators. And, we hope eventually friends. And, our work is all about connection. And that's what this initiative is doing. We are as the Story Exchange is a tool for connection, this network is a tool for connection for you all as educators. So that's what we're doing. So what will they get, Ashley, when they join the national? I feel like I'm on a game show, right? Like, take it away,
What do they
Diana.
get? Sure, absolutely. Well, it's been really my privilege over the last few months, and really a joy to think about this question. What does it mean to be a member school within the Narrative 4 National Schools Network? So first and foremost, again, for us, this is about building community. We know that the work of being a teacher and being an educator can be extremely joyful and bring you the best moments of your life. And we also know it can be extremely challenging. And we recognize that. And we think one of the best ways to serve our schools is to build a community nationwide where you can lean on and support and learn from each other. So that's a core part of what Innocent is all about. Additionally, Narrative 4 is more than the story exchange. We love our story exchange, and that's going to be a huge part of this. But we also want you to have resources that help your classroom become more and more ready to participate in the story exchange, to engage in the story exchange, and that helps your students deal with the isolation and loneliness that we know that they're facing. Every educator within N4 NSN will get to experience Narrative 4 Story Exchange. So if you have not experienced yet, I'm excited for you to experience a Narrative 4 Story Exchange. It really is incredible. I say that as a staff member, yes, that has been doing it for the last 4 years, but is also someone who just 4 years ago participated in it completely cold. And it's really remarkable the power that it can have, and it's been wonderful to see how it can have such a positive effect in our schools. We also want to give you the tools that you need to successfully bring the story exchange to your school. So participating in our facilitator training is also part of this. Developing these new skills, storytelling, community building. And Lee has actually led the process of developing these specialized assessment tools alongside some of our research partners. And we're really excited for you all to gain access to those as well. What our research over the years has shown us, and is really, and Lee's been the leader in this for us here at Narrative 4, is being able to demonstrate these positive increases in academic success, those behavioral outcomes that we all want to see. And for me, most importantly, honestly, those social skills development that we've seen such a need for over these last 4 years, as well as the mental health of the participants within the story exchange, but in your classrooms as well. So Jen is actually going to spend some time now walking us through some of the program design at N4 NSN.
Yeah, so let's get into the nitty gritty, right? The details, the logistics. This is where my heart lives. This is my favorite stuff. And I've been talking to so many educators, principals, assistant principals, district folks in the last couple of weeks, and this is what everybody wants to know, right? How does this actually work? So here is sort of our planned schedule. This is a 3-month process initiative, and so your school is applying to the net, and we'll go over the application, what that looks like. So I just want to make that really clear that a school is the applicant, not a single educator at the school. So as a school, you'll apply to the National Schools Network, and we are asking each school to commit at least 5, but up to 20 faculty and staff who can participate in the network. And this is sort of our plan for those folks. And of those faculty and staff, we are asking each school to designate one team lead or school lead who will really be sort of the point person, who will be doing the majority of the communication with our Narrative 4 team, who will be disseminating information and resources to your team at your school. So this school lead will be attending all of these, you see here, these scheduled events, including those meetings that say COP, that's Community of Practice meetings. So everyone will gather together at our kickoff in February. You'll get to meet your N4 advisor, you'll meet each other. And then at the beginning of March, you'll experience your story exchange. Now, some locations will have an in-person story exchange option. It will all depend on sort of how many applicants we have from each area. So if we have, for example, I know Chattanooga is a city that we've been working with for a while, and we're expecting to get a great cohort from Chattanooga. So there will likely be an in-person story exchange in Chattanooga, but that might not be the case for every single school who is part of the cohort. So that will all be determined. And for those who aren't, who we will not be able to do an in-person story exchange, you'll have the opportunity to do that virtually. And then from the story exchange, then we'll build onto that with our facilitator training, with our community of practice meetings, and then work with you so that you are ready to dive in and start leading story exchanges and taking the tool back to your classroom as early as end of April, beginning of May. Lee, I think, wants to go into a little bit more detail about some of that that additional work, but that is the basic outline of how the network is going to work.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, there's going to be a few meetings throughout the 3 or 4 months together, and most of those meetings will be led by Narrative 4 practitioners, the staff here, most who are either artists or teachers themselves in the classroom. So there's a lot of practice that will be shared, from actual classroom experience. There's also going to be opportunities for some shared agency. We want everyone who is part of this cohort to be an architect in the development of some of the learning resources, share their own best practices, or share things that have worked in their classrooms that can be integrated into some of the resources that we build together. So we're sort of all architects together in this journey. There'll be skill building exercises, sort of micro lessons to help students and teachers think about how to talk about, storytelling, listening, deep listening, etc. And then you're going to be sort of ushered through running your own story exchanges to see how this works in your classroom. And then obviously we take feedback, and then we can co-create. The other thing that we have are a series of surveys. We know that any great classroom or any great school is sort of driven by data. And I mean that in the best sense. I know administrators want data, and we want to evaluate the quality of our products and what we're teaching, and is it working? So there'll be, pre-surveys that we've designed. There'll be surveys around social connectedness, around stories, story listening. There'll be a post sort of survey. There'll be some demographic information. But these surveys are very easy. They're very user-friendly, and they're all designed to give you feedback in your classroom and see how that it impacts positively the nature of your classroom or your school. So I think I'm passing it back to Ashley.
Yep. Thank you, Lee. So I want to talk a little bit about this application process. One of our core commitments as we were developing N4 NSN was that we wanted to make the application process as easy as possible. We know that you have enough on your plate. So any K-12 school across the United States is welcome to apply. Public, private, charter, please apply. We want you to be a part of this initiative. We do ask that an administrator of any kind, whether it's a principal, a department head, the school counselor, submit an application on behalf of your school. I want you, as these applications come to me, and I want to tell you, please don't spend more than like 10 to 15 minutes max on this application. I know it can be so tempting to do a deep dive, but I want to give you the opportunity to not have to feel like you have to put everything down for this application. We don't want it to be stressful. We just want to know who you are. We want to know a little bit about your community, but I also don't want to overwhelm you. So don't feel like you have to write a book, although I love it, but I don't want that stress on you. We are going to personally review each application. I can make that commitment to you, and we'll make our selections and probably communicate this out into the world at the very earliest part of February. If you're not an administrator and you're like, I'm not sure what to do, should I apply? I'm not sure. Don't worry about it. We also have nominations if you need support. So maybe it's a school in your neighborhood that you think would be great for this. Maybe it's a school that your child goes to or a school your friend works at. But any person can really nominate a K-12 school that they think would benefit from N4 NSN. It's easy to nominate. Again, we made this as easy as possible. All you have to do is go onto our N4 NSN homepage, scroll to nominate a school, and open the form. And give us your name and email address just in case we have any follow-up questions, and then the name of the school that you'd like to nominate. If you know the contact at the school that you think we should reach out to that would be the best for this type of initiative, give that to us too. Otherwise, we'll try to find the contact for the principal or the head of school administration, and that's the person that we'll reach out to. This is a great opportunity to get this network in front of the eyes of schools that may not otherwise know about it. So we appreciate you helping to spread the word and also to let us know who you feel like in your community would be a great part for this. These applications are going to close. We've actually just extended the deadline, which we're really excited about. They're going to close on January 31st. So get those nominations in really as soon as possible. I can commit to you that I'm personally emailing those nominations out to schools based on what you submit to us. So thank you for taking the time to do that. And it's opening the N4 NSN network even wider than it was before. So this is really the overview of what N4 NSN is all about, but we also want this info session to be about what your wonderings are. So we want to pause there with our descriptions and our presentation and really ask you to feel free to either ask a question in the webinar chat, which you can see over to the side. You can either post it to everyone or post it to the host and panelist, or you can go here into the Q&A and ask a question. And we'll take a moment then to lean into that. So the first question that's come in through the chat is asking us, what about homeschools? Absolutely. If you're part of a homeschool network or a micro schools network, we know that those are really important pieces of it, the education fabric as well. So we definitely want you to feel open to applying to N4 NSN and to be a part of this community. Thank you for that question. Okay, thank you. So I'm seeing a question from Philly. I'm a teacher in Philly, and I was wondering, when exactly are we supposed to complete the time requirements? Are we meant to do this after school hours or during? Thank you so much for that question, teacher from Philly. So our commitment, Jen, I see you on mute. Do you want to take this? Thank you.
I would love to answer this because this has come up in several conversations I've had with folks in Philly. And the answer essentially is we are flexible. And so our plan is to actually poll all of the participants at the beginning of this process and figure out what time works for you all. And because we're going to have schools from all over the country, as I don't know if you heard me say that earlier. I think I said it like 10 times, but from all over the country. So we will most likely have, for all of those virtual events that you saw on the program overview, there will most likely be two options of times to participate in those. There will be a during the school day time and an after the school day time, and schools will be able to opt into whichever option works better for them. And then also, just to clarify, that those community of practice meetings, the only person from your school who is required to be there is the team lead. We are encouraging everyone to be there if they are, so inclined. Those meetings will be recorded. You'll have access to those after, but the time commitment is a little bit different for the school lead, the person who's designated as the lead, and they will be expected to attend all of those community practice meetings, but not necessarily everyone in your school's cohort will. So hopefully that answered the question.
Thank you, Jen. We're also having a question about, what does February 18th look like? The whole day? Not the whole day, although wouldn't that be fun to spend it together? Again, we recognize what all you guys have on your plate, and we really respect that. We're looking at February 18th being a kickoff event of anywhere between 1 to 2 hours. We want to be the February 18th event to be a place that we can begin that community building process. That's so important for us, that that's a place where we're starting to get to know one another as part of N4NSN. Make sure you have access to the tools that you need to succeed as part of N4NSN, and that you know who these other folks are within the network. It'll also be a day that you get to familiarize yourself more with Narrative 4. We're hoping to bring some of our artists that are a big part of Narrative 4 to that event as well. So you'll get a full structure of that alongside your email about the acceptance, and then we'll move forward with that. But you can think that that's probably going to be about a 1 to 2 hour event. Meredith, thank you for your question. When are the meetings? You heard Jen's response to that. We're very flexible and looking really to respond to the group that we have, as well as how are they scheduled. We expect the time commitment for this. Lee, we haven't gotten you to answer a question yet. The question is, what is the time commitment? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I feel like you're the best person to talk about time commitment. I mean, are you talking about time commitment in the sense of integrating programs into the school, or the commitment to actually be a part of the cohort? I guess is the question I'm asking about that question.
I would assume that there's two different time commitments, right? So there's the
Yeah.
time commitment for your time on the cohort. We're expecting your time commitment within like the online calls probably to be no more than 3 to 4 hours within the month, right? It's a total time commitment of over the course of 3 months, no more than 12 hours. Jen, did you sent this out to everyone? This is great. If you click on that link there on the PDF or download that PDF, that's going to give you a program overview, and it also notes that time commitment on there, which can give you a sense of that. And I think what Jen expressed too is really important, right? Is that this is really about, there's your school lead, and that's important because that person is going to have a little bit of a higher time commitment than everyone else that is more of a participant of the program. So that's something, as you look at this as a school community, that you can kind of talk through of who's the best person to be in that lead role versus someone who is also a part of N4NSN and can come to as many things as they want, but perhaps does not carry as much of the responsibility. Thank you, Jen, for sharing that. And Jen, this has to be to you from Patrick in New London. So most of us from New London are from the same school, Nathan Hale Arts Magnet School, and from our multilingual learner program. Can you speak to how N4 has been used in the past with multilingual learner programs? And I'll also throw Lee in with this as well. Both of these guys are from Connecticut and have worked with programs like you're describing in the past.
Yeah, so Patrick and I know each other. We've been in touch for several years, and he's done some great work in New London at Nathan Hale. But Patrick, I don't think that we have specifically worked with your multilingual learners before, but I can speak to a district that I have in Ohio, Dublin City Schools, who they only use Narrative 4 as part of their they refer to them as ELL, English Language Learner students, and so they have a really large population of new American Mexicans, immigrants, refugees. And so they, I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail, sort of, to manage our time well, but yes, it's very possible to bring students who speak different languages together to do story exchange. You just need additional support. You need, as I think a lot of programs with ELL students do as well, needing additional, para support, staff support, and just planning in advance. And so making sure you know what languages students speak, their, their level of English where they currently are, so that you can pair students appropriately. And then a lot of times you can incorporate art or music or dance and things that aren't even about the spoken language, and students can connect with their stories in nonverbal ways as well. So Lee, I don't know if you want to throw in anything. The short answer is yes, and then Lee, I'm sure, can expand as well.
Yeah, there was a question that connects in the Q&A, which is about our work in other countries. And obviously we encourage people to sort of integrate the program in their own language, right? In the language that's possible or easiest for them. But also there are very mixed classrooms that we work in too, where we have translations, or we get very creative, like Jen was alluding. We use artwork, we use music, we use, that's where the artist network actually comes in a lot of the time, to sort of fashion other ways to tell stories. It's not just about oral narrative. The youngest group I ever worked with were multilingual, and they were second graders. They were the equivalent of second graders, and it was amazing. They did everything through storyboarding and through sort of acting and play and through these tableaus. So it was quite interesting to see how you can do that. And it's also great to, to practice, your language acquisition skills. So, the other thing that we can do is we have many advisors in the network of Narrative 4 that actually have the best resources for this. So they, it's not that it's just a cookie cutter thing, but they can certainly, they love to share best practice, so that you'll have a lot of information. And then the beauty, the ultimate, at least this is me speaking, I didn't run this by Ashley or Jen, but the ultimate goal is, once you build capacity in your school, right, through this cohort, is that you get connected. Hopefully you can get connected to schools internationally and run story exchanges. I mean, that's brilliant when kids and teachers are interacting with folks from around the world.
Yeah, 100%, Lee. And Patrick and others, if you're interested in that topic, we have many schools that implement in that way, using our tools with multilingual learners. And we can also, if you want to reach out to us, we're all just either Jen at Narrative 4, Ashley at Narrative 4, or Lee at Narrative 4. And we can, facilitate connection too. So you can kind of chat with other educators within our network that are utilizing our tools with their own multilingual learners. This is kind of a tag along question, so I want to add it here. Do you plan to extend this program to other countries? We happen to have the director of global programming on this call. So Lee, would you like to chat about that?
Yeah, well, the short answer I put in the Q&A was yes, and then I put eventually. Yeah, we absolutely want to do this. This is the first time we've rolled out this particular initiative and cohort. So we're going to test it out here first over the next few months, and then we're going to, roll it out globally. So you can be the pioneers in the US for now, and then we'll take it overseas.
Thank you, Lee. And then I don't want to miss any of your questions. The last one that I think I see is from Ashley, asking, is there another program cycle that takes place in the fall, or is this the only time to apply and participate? So Ashley, our hope is to run 2 cycles of N4 NSN a year. That is our hope. As Lee said, this is our first iteration, and we're really excited to dig in here. My encouragement is if you're able to jump in. If you're not, but you're interested for the fall cohort, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Our emails are there in the chat, and we can make sure that we're following up with you when that time comes. One more thing, signing in from Brooklyn. Hi. You're a parent of a 4th grader and on the team. Oh, and daughter-in-law of Lillian. No way. We love Lillian. If you don't know and you're on this call, Lillian is like the best and has been an educator within Narrative 4, using Narrative 4 tools in the South Bronx for a decade. Yes, an N4 legend. So thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for being here. Any other questions before we hop into one last thing for today? So before we close out, I do want to show one last thing to you all. I want to share with you just how easy it is to go ahead and get your application started and kind of turn to the application and make sure that you have the tools to do that. So I am going to share my screen and let's see, make sure I do this the right way. I put this in a tab by itself, so you all don't have to see the 45 other tabs that I have open if you're one of those types of people. So if you go to narrative4.com/National Schools Network, or cheat, narrative4.com/N4NSN, it'll take you right here. And what you're going to see is this application deadline right here, and you can actually click on that and it will take you directly to the application. Again, I would love for you all to spend really no more than 10 to 15 minutes here. And we tried to make the questions as basic as possible. What we want to know, again, is who your community is and why something like this would really serve your community. It's helping us put together a network of schools that are going to really beautifully blend together in a way that can be supportive of one another, that love storytelling, that love the arts, and understand how we can build community and fight that isolation and loneliness together. So this is the application. This is how you kind of open this piece of the puzzle. And again, please, you can take your 10 minutes right now. I think we've got it here in the chat for you. This is Samantha from our marketing team. She's giving you a great overview here in this video if you want to watch it, of what N4NSN is all about. So I'm going to stop that chat and answer a couple of last questions. Yes, Meredith, thank you. This really is geared towards beginners, but we're going to be able to take it higher. If you've done N4 for a long time, that's how customizable this is going to be. We're going to make sure that you have the beginner tools, and I'll announce this here. Lee, I'll do it. I don't even know if it's been announced, but N4NSN educators are going to get access to 2 brand new Narrative 4 products, like brand new Narrative 4 products, before anyone else globally. Lee and the global program team are just completing our brand new self-guided training, which is going to be an amazing opportunity for folks to kind of dig in on a new level of what does it look like to facilitate. And it was filmed with our global team from Africa, from Ireland, from Mexico, from the US. And I personally am so excited about it. And it's some of the highest quality training I think that we've been able to offer up to this point. And N4NS educators get it first. And then the second part is we're right here on the finish line of redesigning our learning resources website, all of our learning resources, and the way that they can be best implemented in the classroom. And again, N4NSN educators are going to get those first. So that sounds a little gamey, but I promise it's just the way the timing's working out. But I'm so excited for this group to be able to get those resources. So yes, if you're a beginner, you can do this. If you've been with us for a long time and you feel like this is a leveling up option for you, please go for it. We're excited to dig in with you. All right. Did we cover all of the pieces of this puzzle? And yes, I saw that application. Thank you for sending that through. I think we got it, everybody. Any more questions before we close out for the day? All right, so I think, Jen, I think you were going to close us. Is that correct?
Sure, I would love to close this out. So I will just say to all of you, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully we answered your questions. And if not, as we've mentioned, please feel free to send any of us an email. We really, really hope that you will apply, that you will nominate a school, that you will tell your friends, tell your fellow educators, tell your cousin, tell whomever about this opportunity. And I don't know if this ever came up. Did anyone actually say, I just want to reiterate, this is a program that is at no cost to schools. This is a program that has been fully funded by Narrative 4 supporters. And this is honestly, Lee, correct me, historian, if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first time that Narrative 4 is formally offering programs at no cost to schools to participate. So this is a big, big deal for us. I personally, I'm super excited about this. I know we all are. I know a lot of times cost has been a barrier for schools who want to participate in narrative 4. So this is big. It's a big thing. So I just want to make sure, because I'm like scanning my brain. Did we actually clarify that throughout the webinar? And if we didn't, I'm clarifying it now. So thank you all so much. Go and apply, be part of this amazing, amazing community of practice, and work with all of us because we're fun. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. That's it. We'll catch you hopefully very soon.
Thanks,
Woo!
everybody. Have a
Chatting.
lovely day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Look forward to seeing you.